Welcome to another review from the Four Corners of the Board with your host, Graeme Anderson. Hello everyone, this is Graeme Anderson from Four Corners of the Board. Today, I'm going to be looking at a game called First Class. Now when I first saw this on the store shelf, this box cover did not do anything for me. And when I read the back of the box as well, it did not wow me over with the description of what this game is about. But I am a sucker for a train game. Then I saw the layout of the game, and that kind of got me kind of interested. I noticed it was only 20 minutes a player, and there's 5 interchangeable modules? Now you have my attention. So where does this game fall for me? Well, why don't we get to the table, see how it's played, then we'll come back for my final thoughts on First Class. So here we have First Class all set up. Now I do want to mention before we start that there are 5 modules that you'll be mixing in with this game, but this that I've displayed here is just the basic game. Each module is a set of cards, and you're going to be mixing these into your draw decks for the different rounds. Each game you're going to be playing, you're going to be taking 2 out of the 5, so there's a good variety of different cards you're going to add, and they will add different ways to score or kind of different mechanisms that you can use during the game. Now, a player board, like this one here, will keep track of where your conductors are, which are your 2 pawns here, and where your train is, or your locomotive is here. Each player also is given an additional conductor, which they will place on their scoring track, and that will just keep track of your score. Every time your conductor goes all the way around, you're going to be adding one of your additional scoring cubes here, and that will be worth 50 points at the end of the game. Each player will also be given 2 0-point trains. They'll be given 4 mail cards, which I'll get into these when I talk about building out your train, and you'll be given 1 coin. So, the point of the game is to score the most points. And the way you're going to be scoring points is by building out your train, by adding more train cards along here. And you have 2 trains that you can use. You want to build up your trains. You want to upgrade them. So you can upgrade 0s to 1s. And there are the other ones here. All these cards are double-sided. So you have 2s and 4s. And you have 7s and 12s. So you want to add these cards to your train. You want to move your conductor, because you're only going to be scoring points for the train cars that your conductor is at or has passed. And then you can also move your locomotive along here and score points when they pass cities. And you can also extend your route along and move your locomotive further on. So the basics of the game are all the actions you're going to be taking are taken from the cards that are on the table. Now there are 6 rounds to the game. Each round will start by laying out 18 cards, 3 rows of 6. After 2 rounds, you're going to be doing a scoring and then moving on to the next pile. So these are all 1s, and then from the next round I'm going to be adding these 1s, scoring, clearing everything off, and then going on to the 2s and doing 2 rounds of that, scoring, then moving on to the 3s, 2 rounds of that, do another round scoring, and then you do final scoring at the end. The last thing that's going to happen is each player will be given a end of game scoring card. They're going to be drafted out of this deck here. Once everybody has one, you're going to shuffle the deck again and deal out 4 cards here, which people can purchase during the game. And I'll talk a bit about that when I talk about the coins you can get. So, the actual game play consists of each person in turn taking one of the cards and performing the action on the card. So, I'm just going to go through the actions very quickly to give you an idea of how this game operates. So, the first card here says you're going to be taking a 0 card, and you're going to be upgrading one of your 0 cards to a 1. So I can take one of these 0 cards from the deck, and I can either place it on this train or this train. And because this also says I can upgrade a 0 to a 1, I can upgrade any of my 0s to a 1 as long as it's the leftmost 0 of the train. So, for example, I could not upgrade this one, because that's a 0, but there is a 0 to the left of it, so I could upgrade this. So you should never have a situation in which there is a card that has a higher value than the one to the left of it. So now that I have actioned this card, I'm going to play it in my action discard deck, because at the end of the game, when I'm evaluating my end of game scoring cards, those will represent the cards that are in your discard area. The next type of card is moving your conductor along. So this one says I can move both conductors 1 spot. So I could just move my conductors here. Now remember, I want to upgrade my cars but I won't score points unless my conductor moves to them or past them. The next type of card is just an additional route card. I'm going to take this and add it to my route up there. Then there's also a move a locomotive, which basically means I'm just going to move my locomotive one spot. Of course, as the game goes on, there'll be locomotives that you can move twice, ones that you can move your conductor more than one space. So these are kind of the early level ones. Now there are two other types of cards which I don't have displayed here, but they're all pretty simple. There's one such as just getting 4 coins. I'll talk a bit about coins after I talk about the scoring. And the other types are contracts. Now the contracts basically show you a requirement at the top. So this one says I must have 2 7 cards next to each other. And when I do that, I can upgrade 2 cards one level. Now the nice thing about the contracts is when you take them, you don't have to automatically fulfill them. Even when you meet the conditions, you don't have to automatically fulfill them. It's up to you when you fulfill this. So even if I have the 2 7s on my train, I may want to wait to a more appropriate time to actually trigger them. And when you do that, you're going to turn them face down, but still keep them in your action area. So that's all the different card types that are the basic card types anyway. They're, of course, depending on which module you add, you're going to be adding more mechanisms to the game. So one last thing I do want to mention is when the number of cards that are gone from a row equal the number of players. So let's say we're playing a four-player game. There's now 4 cards gone from this row. These cards are gone. They're out of the game, and you're only left with 2 rows. So that's a kind of an interesting mechanism. If you don't want any of the cards that are left and it's your turn, you can always take the first player token. Now the first player token says that whoever takes the first player token will get 2 coins. The person to their left is going to get nothing. The third place will get a 0 card, and the fourth one will either get a 0 card or upgrade one of the 0s to a 1s. When you take this, the following round, you will get the first player token and be able to go first. Whenever someone takes this, you still remove a card from the table, and you will always remove the top left-hand card. So we remove this, and then I will then get the first player token back. So let's say we've gone through 2 rounds, and now it's scoring. So how do you actually score points in this game? Well, the first thing you're going to be doing is evaluating where your train is along your route. Every time you move your train, you'll get to perform the city action, which are all the little ones that you pass. And during a scoring phase, any of the ones that have a pocket watch on them, you're going to be triggering again. So this one says I'm going to get 2 coins, and this one says I can move my conductor both one spot. So if I decide to do that, I can move that guy there. Now my train has to be at or beyond the city for me to trigger it. If it was here, I could trigger this one, but I cannot trigger this one because my train has not reached there yet. So I would not be able to move both of my conductors one spot. Once you've evaluated all the cities across your route, you're then going to be looking at your actual train. So let's say he was here. I'm going to be looking at where my conductors are, and where my conductor is all the way to the left, I'm going to get all points for those cards. So in this situation, I'm just going to get the 1 point for here. But if I had upgraded, let's say this one to a 7, then I would score 7 points for that one. And that's pretty much the game. You're going to be going through 2 rounds of each of the piles, followed by a scoring round. So you have 3 scoring rounds like this all together. And at the end of the game, you're going to be scoring your end of game scoring ones, which all the details on how to score these are in the book. I'm not going to go through it here. But the last thing I want to mention, well, there's kind of a couple more things I want to mention. One is when you've built your 5th train car in any of the your trains, you could place one of your mail cards. Now, everybody's got the same type of mail cards. As soon as you place your 5th card, you're going to be placing one of these as your 6th. And this is kind of automatic. You're not going to get any points for it, but you do get to perform the action on the card immediately. And everybody's got the same, and they're basically better versions of the first part of the game. If you ever can get 9 cards in your train, you're going to be placing the top available card here. Now this will automatically give you the bonus at the bottom, and the early ones have less points, but they will give you 2 upgrade actions, and you can upgrade any card 1 level twice. So let's say I place this there. If I was able to get my conductor there, then during the scoring phase, I'm going to get 5 points. And if I'm the first person to get my conductor there, I'm going to be placing one of my scoring cubes on here to say I'm the first one. And at the end of the game, I'm going to be scoring 20 points. Now the last thing I want to talk about was coins. And the coins are an interesting mechanism that can be spent at any time during your turn or even during a scoring phase. But you'll always, when you take coins, you're always going to be adding them from the bottom left up. You can never jump empty spaces. But you can spend them in any order that you like. So let's say this was my board setup. At any time during my turn or during the scoring phase, I could spend 4 coins. And I could spend these 2 coins and these 2 coins, or I can spend all the coins from this one column here, and I could take one of the end of game scoring things. So let's say I take this and I put it in front of me, and now that's going to be part of my end of game scoring. And again, when I get more coins, even though I've already have some coins here, I always have to fill up from the bottom left. I can also spend these coins, again, during my turn or during the scoring phase to perform the action under the column. So all these coins, each coin can be spent to get another 0 train to add to my train cars. Any coin spent in this column, I can either move my train ahead 1, or I can move my conductor ahead 1 spot, and any coin in this column can be spent to upgrade any card 1 level. So, once you've done your turn scoring phase, and everybody has scored their end of game scoring cards, any coins you have left over are also worth a point, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Let's get back to the table to see what I thought about First Class. Well, I was very impressed with First Class. Now, I don't know why they went with such an uninteresting box cover. The components inside the box are very nice quality, and the art inside is the same as the art on the outside. It's very nice, but I found it uninteresting. Now, the gameplay is where this game really shines. Now, I like a good engine building game, and in my opinion, this is a good engine building game. The other thing that this game has, which I also really enjoy, is the fact that there are no bad choices. You look at the cards on the table, and every card will give you something good. Now, the card may not be optimal for your strategy, but it's still going to give you something good. I also like the mechanism of clearing off the rows when the number of cards taken is equal to the number of players. It makes it a little bit more strategic on what cards you're taking and in which order you take them in. Now, this can also lead to the first negative, and that is analysis paralysis can start to creep in during the game. The first round or 2 are fairly simple. The cards on the table are fairly simple. They do fairly simple actions, as I showed in the walkthrough, and you're not having any bonuses. But after you start to build your engine, you have to be thinking a lot more of what cards you need to basically feed your engine. And the game is very flexible as when to apply card bonuses or city bonuses. Do you apply the card bonus now when you get it, or do you kind of wait until the scoring rounds? The order in which you do your cities in the scoring round, it's up to you which order you place them in, which city you decide to do first. The coins, you can spend the coins at any time, either during your turn or during the scoring phase. You can do a couple city during a scoring round and then, spend some coins and then finish doing another city. So there's so many things to think about that I could see where this would be a negative for people that have analysis paralysis, because everything is good. You're just trying to pick the best of the best. Now, this does lead into another slight negative I have of the game, and that's the fact that there can be a runaway leader or snowball effect. Because it is an engine building game, when you start getting your engine going, you're getting more and more and more points every scoring phase. And there are 3 scoring rounds during the game, then there's a final scoring. But if you can get your engine going, you're going to have a very difficult engine to beat. Now, that's not saying it's impossible. If you have a slow start or you stumble at the start, you can catch up. But if someone has an excellent engine running from the very start, it makes it very difficult to catch up to them. But the game is only 20 minutes a player. I mean, we're playing a 4-player game in about an hour. For me, that's plenty of time for this game. It is a very easy game to get into. The concepts are very easy. So with all that being said, I cannot recommend First Class highly enough. I really enjoyed this. Every game I've played, I've thoroughly enjoyed. So if you see this on the store shelves, ignore the bland cover, the uninteresting cover, and just pick it up and give it a try. As always, thanks for watching. Thank you for watching another review from the Four Corners of the Board. Please like and subscribe to these videos. You can also follow us on social media, email us directly, or check out our website at fourcornersoftheboard.com.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.